Hey guys, welcome to Starbow. This is going to be FPVOD number 4. It's going to be another PVT on the map, same map, Fighting Spirit. And this map is going to be a really standard game that takes you into late game. And I think it'll be a really good video to watch in terms of looking at engagements and how you engage the Terran army. So the Terran army, as we know, is comprised of usually siege tanks of vultures and Goliaths, and sometimes science vessels in the late game. And siege tanks, that composition is very immobile, but it's very strong though, which makes up for its immobility. Protoss composition is going to be primarily Zealot, Dragoon, sometimes High Templar, maybe Archons, and and Arbiters. There we go, Arbiters. So the Protoss army isn't as strong in a straight up fight as the Terran army is, but it is very mobile, and so using that mobility, you're able to hit certain positions, or at least try to get nice engagements against the Terran army that will allow you to be cost efficient. But anyways, yeah, so this is going to be a really standard build, as I've been using in FPVOD number 1. I think I use this exact same build. But I'm going to go for 9 pylon, 11 gate, 12 assimilator, and I'm going to get a cyber core at 15, followed with a pylon at 16. With this pro pylon, the 9 pylon, I'm going to scout. I didn't really want to go up all the way that ramp because I did see that SCV was coming out and it was kind of a late timing. So I kind of figured he was going to be at the top left. And I blindly made a Zealot this time because I noticed in the last games that I played against him, he wasn't walling off. So I figured I would just go and make a Zealot just to see how much damage he could do. And you're going to see that the Zealot doesn't really do that much damage, but at the same time it's kind of nice because it gets some nice scan information in. And I did kill one SCV, as you're going to see later on. So it doesn't really pay off for itself, but it did give me some scanning information. So I threw a pylon up at the top. I made that pylon a little bit late, but you probably want to make it at 16. I made it, I think, like at 17 or something, but I went for a robotics facility. So this is actually a little deviation from what I usually do. Instead of going for a Dragoon and Dragoon range, I just went for a Zealot, and I just followed up with a robotics facility, and I'm going to go Reavers. The reason why I'm going Reavers here is because I noticed that he went for a really fast command center, and I know that this is going to mean that he's not going to have any gas anytime early. And since he doesn't have access to a gas early, I know that he won't have a factory, so he won't have anything like siege tanks. So the fastest units he can get out are just Marines, and Marines are really bad against Reavers. If you're new to Starbow or Brood War, Reavers are this unit. It's got kind of like a caterpillar. Kind of looks like an infestor almost. But it shoots out like a little scarab, and the scarab blows up and kills a bunch of units around it. It's a pretty big radius, and it does 100 damage. And it one-shots SCVs as long as they're not in the closest inner circle. And then I actually blocked off with those 2 probes at the top of that ramp, so that if he had a scouting SCV, it wouldn't be able to get in. So he doesn't actually know what kind of build I'm going for here. I could be going for a Stargate and opening with Sentinels, which is kind of like an Oracle in StarCraft 2. Or I could be going Dark Templars, or I might even be going for Reavers, which is exactly what I'm doing. So I just made a few Dragoons, although ideally this is kind of unnecessary. I don't have to make those units. In fact, I probably should have just built 1 Dragoon maybe, and then just stopped production and then built a Nexus. But I'm very new to this kind of style of play. I don't use this often. I'm very used to macroing because I'm pretty new to PVT still. But I just wanted to experiment, and I noticed that there was a bit of a weakness in his build, and I'm trying to exploit it with the small window time that I have. So I supply block myself, which makes this build very, very, very bad. I should have built a pylon at 26 or 28, and that would have given me enough time to get my Reaver out. But yeah, anyways, I'm getting my Reaver out as soon as possible. I'm using Chrono Boost on my robotics facility to get that Reaver out. And it'll be coming out shortly. And you can notice, he'll probably know that my Dragoons don't have range if he clicked on my Dragoons, which is a big tell that I'm obviously taking up. But he should know that just by looking at my natural and seeing that there isn't anything there. So here I'm going to go and drop my Reaver into my shuttle, or my War Prism, and I'm going to head straight to his base. And he did send off a scouting barracks, which is really smart of him, and he probably did see that coming. But I'm still just going to go for this. Now, one thing you could do is, what I could have done instead of making Dragoons, I could have made Zealots and used those to tank the shots that, if anything was to come down. And there, I target some SCVs. The reason why I picked up my Reaver right after dropping it is because I wanted to make sure that there weren't any siege tank shots or any spider mines in that area. I noticed that it was safe, so I dropped again, and then I attacked again onto his SCVs. So I picked off about maybe like 3 SCV kills, which is pretty significant, and that's pretty good. I got another 2 there, so I think about 5 kills so far. And my Dragoon, my Reaver, is going to get this siege tank kill. So in terms of resource cost, oh, this is going to be big! Oh, that was so close! Oh, that one got a lot. That one got a lot of kills. And then I rift back that Reaver home because I lost my shuttle, or my warp prism. So that kind of paid off for itself. You know, I got a lot of SCV kills. Economically, he's going to be behind. I have probably more workers than he does. I'm continuing to build probes off of 2 bases, 2 nexus. I'm going to add 2 more gateways, and I already have access to robotics facility, so getting observer tech won't be that difficult. I was able to rift that Reaver back home so I could use it to defend against any vulture run-bys if that happens, or I could even use it to try to drop in his base again, but that's kind of a really risky thing to do, to go back inside once you already dropped in his base, because then he's going to be prepared for it by putting up spider mines, siege tanks, and turrets in the right locations. But anyways, I'm going to continue, get some observer tech out. I'm just going to macro up, and keep this in mind. You know, he's probably still a little bit wary of this dropship. You know, he knows that I still have a Reaver. I can easily make another warp prism, so he's going to fall back in his base and play this kind of defensively. Ideally, I should make an observer and send it straight to his base to see what kind of reaction he's going for, because he can fall with anything. He could probably just go for a 2-base timing, and wait for me to drop my 3rd base and just attack at that time. Because when the Protoss makes his 3rd base, it's somewhat of a vulnerable timing that Terran can kind of exploit and attack. But, you know, I didn't actually do that very well this game. I didn't build an observer that early, and I mean, I've had my observer tech for a really long time, but again, it's a pretty common theme if you look at my last FPVODs that I'm pretty new to Protoss, so I'm definitely not very good at it. But I mean, I have a lot of fun with it, so that's a good thing. Even though I don't play at a high level, I'm still able to have a lot of fun with this game. In fact, you know, most of the viewers watching this are probably most likely better than me in terms of mechanics. So I guess that's good news. that's good news. So anyways, I'm continuing to crowd boost out more units. I'm going to look to get a 3rd base, because I know that he's kind of stuck in his base, and I'm going to try to just go for a risky 2nd drop, but this time using 2 more zealots along with my drop. Fortunately, when I get over here, I see that there's some turrets, and I'm just thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe I can get some drops in. And I get a little, you know, I just got a little too greedy. I dropped the Reaver first because I didn't want the Reaver the shuttle to die yet, and I didn't really get much done there, but you know, I would still say that it paid off for itself, but now I've kind of lost that sort of map control, and the map control I'm relying on is just these few Dragoons to just keep him outside his, inside his base. With good micro, these Dragoons will be able to take down those vultures if I back up and avoid the mines, or target mines in any mines that go down. And so now I finally get my 3rd base. I dropped down 2 pylons there, because I'm going to use some big buildings to wall off later on, and you're going to see the style of wall off that I use, which makes it's pretty interesting wall off, but I'll talk more about it later. So yeah, I was able to get 2 nice vulture pickoffs there. So he did kill a Dragoon, but I got 2 of his vultures, so I'd say that's somewhat of a decent trade. It's probably still in his favor, but you know, I'll take it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop 2 forges here. These forges are actually a little bit unnecessary, to be honest, but that wall off, although it looks like there's a big gap, is actually vulture proof. Anything like a zealot, a vulture can't fit through, but probes can. Marines can also fit through, but basically only small units can fit through that gap between those 2 forges. So that's a little thing that you can keep in mind. So what that allows me to do is I can defend against any vulture run-bys. But if you were to drop in my base, I still have a place where my probes can run away off to. And so I was able to get some more vulture pickoffs, which is really nice for me. I did take a few tank shots, but it's okay. I don't take any real hull damage, and I don't lose any Dragoons. So in this point of the game, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I feel like I'm in a pretty good lead. I want to ideally get up to 5 gateways, and then make my way up to either Templar Tech or Arbiter Tech. This game, I'm going to continue going Arbiter Tech. It's just something that I prefer more than Storms. Although Storm in this game is really good to have too, because of how nice it is to do Smartcast. Because in Brood War, you didn't have smart cast. You used all your Templars to issue one storm command. All the Templars would actually storm instead of just one storm at a time. So still, I'm maintaining some map control. I have one observer over his third base, and I see that he's still economically behind compared to me. There's a Vulture run by down to the bottom that I missed, and I really wish that I had my Dragoons there to block. At least one Dragoon at the top of the ramp would have been able to block off that one run by, and bought me enough time to not take any damage to my econ. At the same time, he drops to my main base, which is really nice. I'm just pulling back as many units as fast as I can and bringing my army there. Again, I lose quite a few probes. I'm not really keeping track of how many. I don't want to lose any. Yep, I got a mine detonation on top of my units, which is unfortunate. He lifts off his siege tanks and gets them back out, so some really good stuff by him, actually. He's doing what he can to get back in the game, and I do have 3 bases, so it gets a little bit difficult for me to defend all my bases, because I want to have enough units at the front of his base to defend against any, or delay any kind of push, but I want to have enough units back at home, too, to defend against any drops. But earlier I mentioned that I wanted to send my observer to his main base, and I forgot to do that, so because of that, I wasn't able to see that he was going dropship tech, and there's really no excuse for me to not be able to get my observer into the main base of my opponent. And then also, even if you were to have turrets up, it's still very possible for you to get your observer into his base, because in Starbow there's actually an ability called Phase Shield, which basically allows the observer to not take any aggression. So if you cast it while going over enemy units, the enemy has to reissue an attack command directly on top of the observer for the observer to actually take any damage. So now I see that he is taking a third base up at the 12 o'clock position. There's still not really much I can do because he did a smart move where he did use his dropships to buy him some map control. So I don't have enough units to attack. And I have, yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of units back at home trying to defend my bases. So I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to try to push the tech, and I'm going to see if I can get a 4th base at the same time, though. I don't expect that I will be able to because they'll probably have vultures roaming around the map, and I don't really want to send any Dragoons because they'll probably get mobbed by a big vulture ball. But even if my 4th base doesn't go up, you know, I'm still working towards Arbiter Tech, and that's still something that's a late game plan that's going to help me, obviously, in the late game. So at this point, I want to work on a few things. Obviously, I want to get my tech up. If I could get another base, I'll go for another base. And of course, I'll work on my upgrades too. I'm still keeping my units up at the front of his base to be able to delay any kind of pushes, because I don't want him to march all his units up to the front of my base when I don't have any units readily available or positioned in the right places to attack his army. So I'm still in 4 gates. I should have 5 right now. Ideally, I want to get to a total of 8 gates and get my Arbiter Tech up. So I lost that probe in the bottom right, but it's okay because I'm still working towards my Arbiter Tech. So even though I might not be advancing in the econ, I'm still there in terms of tech. And yep, I lost 2 Dragoons here because my observer went the wrong direction, or went away from my weren't there with my Dragoons. So I lost 2 Dragoons to just mines. So very unfortunate there. This time I'm gonna have observers with me. And now I'm going to work my way up to having a total of 8 gateways pretty soon. And yeah, so that's the scary vulture ball. But surprisingly, it's not that large, so I'm not too worried about it. 4 Dragoons can trade relatively well against those vultures. Now he's going to try to drop some vultures, or some mines on top of me. And I'm going to try to record the best of my ability. And that was bad. That was really bad. I got a big mine detonation on top of 2 Dragoons. Actually, they hit 3 Dragoons. But you know, I'm doing the best. I'm still able to clear out those mines, trying to work towards that those bottom 2 bases so I can expand. Fortunately, we spawned in a way that actually no. This spawn position makes it a little bit difficult to expand actually, with the threat of vultures. But fortunately, I did enough damage in the early game, and I do have my units out in you know, able to delay a big push and have these 4 Dragoons to buy some kind of protection against for these bottom 2 bases. Alright, so with these Dragoons, I'm just gonna make a nice concave, and see, you don't want the Terran opponents just move out with siege tanks all the way to your base. Because remember, mech is very immobile, and you want to capitalize on that. You want to take advantage of that immobility. You want to keep them from moving towards your base, and so you're just gonna delay. Even if you take a few shots here and there, it's okay. You know, just delay the push, scatter his composition, see what kind of units you need in retaliation to that composition, and just try to get an ideal position. So here I'm just backing up, still playing a little bit in the dark. I'm taking a few shots at my dragoons. I'm just gonna back up. Not a big deal. I'm gonna keep backing up. He's gonna move up these vultures, but these vultures don't trade effectively against dragoons. So, and then I'm gonna try to suck that siege tank, but bad move. He actually dropped some spider mines that I didn't see, and I didn't have observer in the right place. My observer coverage could be a lot better too. If you look at my main map, I'm playing in the dark. You know, I'm honestly playing in the dark, and I'm not doing a good job with that. Now here's an overreaction by me. This is really bad for me. I pull my entire outside army, and that's exactly the thing you don't want to do, because now I'm losing complete map control. I wasn't expecting him to move across the map, but he did. He's going to do it right now. So I take out this push. He knows that he's got some kind of map control. Sure, it didn't take out that many units or any buildings. It didn't do that much damage, but now he's moving his units into a scary position, as you're going to see really soon. So just like that, he's moving across the map. He's got a nice composition. He's got a heavy siege tank composition, but I noticed that there's not a lot of vultures, and in fact, he lost a lot of vultures here. Goliaths and siege tanks aren't very good against zealots, especially if you can drag the zealots into melee range of the spider mines. Now, fortunately, I did have that second group of dragoons out in the middle of the map, and I'm going to bring them here between my natural and his natural, and I'm just going to delay any. I'm just going to try to kill some units that pass by, and I do. I get a nice few dragoon kills. I mean, vulture kills, and that's actually really big deal, because as I mentioned before, he lost a lot of vultures, so he doesn't have any spider mines, and I know this, so I'm making a very heavy zealot composition. And so now with this, I'm going to try to flank from the behind and from the front. And I want to hit before he gets any more vultures. He's attacking now. He's got a lot of shots to my zealots, and I'm trying to spread out my units here. Fortunately, I don't have any stasis, but he doesn't have any spider mines, and this is huge. He gets a nice EMP, but there's no spider mines, and now all my zealots are getting into melee range of the siege tanks, and just like that, I'm able to wipe out his push without losing that many units too. And now I'm in a really strong commanding position, and at this point I'm feeling pretty excited. But I can't really attack though. And here's the thing: although I was able to defend against that push, and I did do that very cost efficiently, I don't want to push in right now and clear up the attack, because I could lose more units to, you know, siege tanks and turrets that could take out my observers, and then just like that, all my zealots would die to mines. So instead, I'm just gonna play it safe. I'm gonna keep teching up, you know, get more barbers up, but I also want to get these bottom two bases now. And in fact, my main and my natural are pretty much mined out, so I'm gonna double expand now. And I have the map control too. I took a really nice commanding position. I traded cost efficiently, and I'm just gonna go ahead and try to maintain some map control and take these bottom two bases. And if I can just defend them and just hold them without losing too many units in terms of probes, army units, or anything, I'll be able to take this game. And then if he takes a fourth base, which is really what he's going to be aiming to do, then I can just recall there, or just move with my entire army there. But at this point, if I go on a 5-base economy to his, you know, probably 2.5 base economy now, because he's probably mining out in his main and his natural, if I can just, you know, hold for a while, I'm going to outmacro him, no problem. And keep in mind that bases in Starbow and Brood War, with the kind of economy that's designed around, expansions are very valuable. I think I've said this before in an earlier FPVOD, but in case you missed it, if you were to have, say, 36 workers, you could have a really large income lead against your opponent if he has like something like 40 workers. If you add 36 workers on 3 bases, that's like 12 workers on 3 bases, right? Although you have 4 less workers, if you're going against an opponent who has 20 workers on 2 bases, your income's going to be, I think, like a good like at least like 1,000 income higher. And yeah, so I did see those dropships, and that's a big thing. That was a big read. I did have that observer up in the top right to patrol between those 2 bases, and fortunately, it did actually catch those 2 dropships. And if I didn't catch those 2 dropships, he could have potentially sieged up at the top of the ramp of the bottom right base, and I could have lost a lot of resources, and I would have to trade inefficiently against that drop. So it was really fortunate of me to actually catch that and take it out. And now I think there's really little that he can do. He doesn't want to invest in any more drop ships. He doesn't want to risk it. Honestly, his only real hope is to try to slow push towards the towards his fourth base. But keep in mind that expand towards that direction is really difficult to do, just because of how open and wide out that area is, and it allows me to get a nice. It's going to force him to have to spread his units in a really large area, and because of that, his firepower isn't going to be centered on the few units. Like they're not going to be clustered on like units that are getting grouped up, because of how widespread that area is. So I built this pylon here because I was going to use it for safeguard, aka the shield battery, which is going to regen some energy, some shields. But unfortunately, it takes some shots and I lose that. So he's going to push out again, which I think is kind of a questionable decision. I mean, it could work if he can just slow push and kind of just, you know, slow push, maintain some kind of threat, and then somehow try to expand. But I do have these units out here that are going to allow me to... Okay, I don't know how I lost my Dragoons there. I honestly don't know how I lost my Dragoons there. But that army was supposed to be able to stop any kind of expanding towards the fourth base up at the 1 o'clock position. But I lost that, so that's really unfortunate. And unfortunately I have like 4 observers stuck up in my army, which is really stupid. So now this army alone probably can't take on his siege tank heavy composition. And I'm in a pretty bad situation, to be honest. I'm going to be relying on my arbiters to get some nice stasis off. But yeah, at this point, I think he can actually force an expansion at the top right. My units basically aren't in a position to be able to deny that. And his main attack is in a position that really scares me. It's a very aggressive position. So I'm gonna back up, try to buy enough time so I can get enough reinforcements. It's primarily zealots, because once again, one of his biggest, like I know this player very well. One of his biggest mistakes that I keep seeing over and over again is that he keeps making too heavy Goliath compositions. Yes, they're good against arbiters, but they're so bad against zealots that you're really hurting yourself more than helping yourself. So with that, I was able to see how many units he had. I was able to see that he had no spider mine coverage, so I'm just gonna go for a big attack. So these arbiters, kind of banking on them. They did get stasis earlier, which is very unfortunate. And but now they've got enough energy for stasis. So now I'm engaging. I'm gonna try to stasis the units in the back, and I move in, and like there's like nothing there, or more like I got a huge stasis off in the middle of this army. That is a big stasis. That was a really big stasis. And yeah, just like that, I'm able to basically clean up this push. And then I'm looking at the minimap, and I see that he is expanding. But you know, I still want to keep my units there. I'm like moving up there. I'm like, wait, no, we'll clear out these units first. Once I clear out these units, I'm gonna push to the top right. Honestly, he probably should have expanded a little bit earlier, and he should have had some more vultures. Definitely more vultures. So yeah, basically at this point in the game, I'm pretty much in command position. I have these other gateways down here, just in case my main base gets contained. I still have some more gateways in the bottom to reinforce or to flank. And I'm just going to drag some zealots in. And that's just about it. His number one mistake in this game was, let's see. His composition, I think, was the number one mistake. If he had a better composition, he definitely could have taken it. And this is really unfortunate for him. He has a really... and yeah, he had more units back at home. Because these siege tanks didn't just pop out of nowhere. He had those back at home. He should have probably devoted those forces to attacking. But now it's a little bit too late. And now I have a really heavy zealot composition, and he has no vultures to counter those. And yeah, that's it. Oh, but this is a big stasis. Oh, it's such an awesome stasis. Oh, such an awesome spell. I love it. Love it. So yeah, I'm on a 2.5 base economy. He's probably on the last of his resources in the 3rd base, and there's basically nothing he can do. Just keep in mind that I just kind of surround his zealots, I mean his siege tanks, and I'm just going to clear out this minefield. And basically the only 2 places you can expand to is really the top right and the 9 o'clock position. The 9 o'clock position is obviously closer to my base. That's scary. But this 4th base is just in a really wide area, and yeah, as you can see, it's really hard to defend. And that's it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful. Really went more into how to engage armies, and if you guys have any recommendations, or if you guys want to see something in particular, just let me know. But thanks for watching guys. Take care.